Morning, Fresh Boys. Welcome to another exciting episode of Naughty Lines, one of the most underrated podcasts in this side of YouTube. Here in this amazing podcast, we talk about the fine arts of no safe for work, drawing them fine bouncing milkers, and philosophy of many kinds. I go by a great many names, but people lately have called me McDraws a lot. And I am the guest for this episode, and I've been very excited to be here. And with me is the man, the brains behind this operation, Tony. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine. I mean, is I did I lose my job? I thought that was my part.
I was, hey, I've just excited to do this because hey, this is my vocal debut. So you caught me on audio before anybody else. This is some good stuff.
Yes, and indeed, and I'm very happy that you agreed to be on the show. Thank you very much for agreeing.
Actually, it's funny. I was surprised how you found me because I'm not gonna drop his name, but you and I know somebody personally. He supposedly got you to find me,
Mm-hmm.
which it's a small world. Like I didn't expect him to really like, get me onto this gig, and I didn't expect all this to happen this soon. Like I I'm almost at like 6,000 followers on YouTube as of this recording, and when I hit 10K, I was going to release a trailer where I'd have a recording of me talking anyway, but hey, I guess it's like with the account I made on Twitter. I guess we're just going down the road every time it just grows a few feet in front of us, so can't really plan everything. But hey, this is exciting. So, what's on the agenda today?
So I got a couple. So I got some questions for you. So people out there who are watching can know the person behind the pen, which is the official motto of this show. Just getting to know the person who draws all those glorious schmeats and titties.
The good Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah. So, uh, I guess we can get started. And first question for you would be just where did it start? Like, when did you start seeing that you had a thing for art?
Oh, well, I guess the best way to say is that the pen ink flows through my blood, through my veins. Basically, I'm serious. Like, I have plenty of relatives that also draw, like on both my mom and dad's side. Like a few of my cousins on my mom's side, my uncle, my late uncle, um, even my sister and my father. But they only did like silly little doodles and whatnot, aside from my late uncle. Um, but me, I was the first one to really delve into this. I guess you can say inherited mutant ability. Um, God, my earliest memories of art must have been during preschool, where basically we had these giant marker stamp hybrids. Like they weren't fancy stamps of like characters; they were just like these giant circle-ended things. You can just like press on the paper, and they make these giant blotchy circles.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember experimenting with all the different colors of the rainbow, like red and blue and purple and stuff. And and there were also like a couple of crafts that we do, like maybe like a little diagram of an aquarium with some goldfish and stuff. And I guess I didn't really start actually drawing maybe when I started hitting second grade, because by that point I was getting way into Cartoon Network then. And by like 8 years old, I've already mastered drawing Eddie and Ed. And right now, without a reference, like it wouldn't be precise. Like I couldn't trick people, but it'd be close enough to like I can just get all the needed details of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I guess it just really never stopped from there because ever since like second grade, just in all my classes, I just be known as the Leonardo da Vinci. Like everyone would just come to me if they wanted something drawn or if they wanted like drawing advice or just all that kind of hoo ha. And it go on into like high school. And nowadays I would just like do a bunch of draw piles with friends and BS with them in chats and whatnot. And that's just with me and drawing in general. But if we're talking about just for drawing smut, oh, that's another thing. Um, for the last 6 months, I guess, I've been doing a lot of like self discovery and realizations about myself. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been a horny bastard since I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody else knows about this. This is probably like a weird Berenstein kind of thing, a Mandela effect. But Howard Stern had like a TV show on back in like 2000, in the early 2000s. And those are like my earliest memories of just sneaking off into the other room because he'd like hire on a bunch of these strippers and other women to showing their titties and making out and whatnot. All censored, by the way, but even then. And and then after mom and dad got a divorce, like I mom would take full custody of me and my sister, and we'd live in an apartment, which would be the first time I'd have a room at the age of 8, which that opened the doors. And I stay up late at night and catch like Girls Gone Wild and Wild Party Girls and all that shit at like 3 a.m. on all the Spike channels and whatnot. And I guess it never really stopped for me drawing and me just getting so fascinated over like women and whatnot, which I know a lot of people will sound like I'm just being a creep or whatnot, but come on, like I'm just a dude who's curious about women and just all that nonsense. And that's really what art is just being fascinated over something.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you can just say that about anybody really. So I mean I guess that answers that question of like you know why I've been into drawing. And I guess that kind of answers a little bit of like how long I've been so curious about like drawing this adult stuff and whatnot, since it's long story short, it's just been with me for a while.
Right.
So
Okay. So, huh. So the smut started about like you'd want to say 6 months ago, something like that. Just through self discovery and such, you decided, you know what, this is what I want to draw.
yeah. And the funny thing about the account itself, it started completely different with completely different intent. Because I won't say much, but um this is gonna get a little dark right now. But back in April, my sister sadly passed, and a few weeks after my grandma did. And for a while, I've been living with grandma. So for the last 6 months, I've been crashing with some friends, and I've just been sticking with them and just trying to do all this. You know what? Pause right here. Pause right here. We'll pause right here.
So, so let's get into the nitty gritty about your adult account, like your NSFW stuff. When like you said that it started about 6 months ago through like self discovery and such. So you would say that like what was the self discovery like? Like, did you discover that you had a knack for smut?
All right. So here's the thing. Despite my intense curiosity into the adult arts, um, I was mostly raised by my grandparents who were very Christian. Um, they did acknowledge my curiosity into the adult arts, but they didn't encourage it. they actually tore me away from all those lustful thoughts and just being expressive in that kind of way. Like they were still supportive of me being an artist, but more like a safe for work artist and everything, which I guess that mindset for a while just bled into my brain because I treated my more pervy thoughts every day more like an annoyance and a hindrance on my daily routine and everything. And I figured, you know what, I can make it big with safe for work art because there's plenty of people on Webtoon and Comic Theory that got lucky, so why couldn't I do it? Um, but it was like 6 months ago. This is gonna get dark, but 6 months ago, my grandparent, like my grandpa died in like 2018, but back in April, my grandmother passed, and it was because of my sister passing too. Um, I won't get too deep into it, but I was living with grandma at the time, and ever since then, I've been crashing on my friend's couch, just trying to pick myself up. And also, there were some friends online that I've known for a bit who I thought would want to get to know me, but they weren't hesitant on just turning around and just leaving me be, which you know it, it didn't help. And I figured with all these huge life changes going on, I figured I wouldn't be able to get to draw for a while because I thought I'd be so like locked in with trying to just stay afloat and everything that I probably won't get the chance to like keep up with drawing ever again. And seeing just everyone like turn on me online and everything, I figured, you know what? New changes, new life, just new everything. How about we just do an adult account? And I made this out of spite because I figured, I'll just draw whatever I want when I want. If somebody was gonna have like a problem with it, or if they're just gonna make a snarky comment, I was just gonna like, troll them a bunch and everything, which I guess in hindsight, it's better it didn't turn out that way because I didn't expect to be this massive so quick and so soon. Uh, um, and how that started, basically, Boob Chan found me, absolute bro. I
Mm-hmm.
did not expect him of all people to find me, and I made like one or two animations for him, and he retweeted them, and they just exploded. And I also got to give credit to Rain Donut because I also made my first animation for him, which also exploded. And I guess it was back in June or July, only like a few months in, and I've already reached like 1,000 people. And people were just like leaving comment after comment of like, "Oh, do you have commissions open? I want commissions. I want commissions." And it's like, I'll I'll open commissions when I reach 1,000 people, and then like in a week or two, boom, from like 100 to 1,000 people, and it's been just increasing ever since. And I've been getting a handful of commissions in every month, and I've made like a handful of full-fledged videos on like Pornhub and everything else, and I've been making an animated GIF every day because I figured I have an audience that would want to see these. And the best way to catch me in that kind of mood is in the morning. So, and really, another thing, Pfeiffer, who I also consider a bro, he's the guy that made the anthropomorphic Pixar lamp
Mm-hmm.
with the, of course, the Pixar mom proportions. And, I made just a simple little GIF of that Pixar lamp just doing something funny with the eye, hint, hint. And that is my most responded to tweet, like 8,000 likes and like a few hundred retweets. And that got me from like 2,000 to like fucking 4,500 people within like a few days. And I'm just bullshitting these animations like, what if I just did this? What if I just do this or this? And it's just been an insane ride ever since. And I guess you can say this has been my second chance on just, you know, starting anew, just completely fresh, not just online, but just as like a person. And so far, the adult account has been very beneficial, not just for like, monetary gain, but also just through like experimentation, meeting new people, getting all these new connections and just branching out. And I figured down the road, I can just try again with safer work content and maybe, because I do have a little bit of a name now and I picture it just growing from here on out, even if it is going to be a little slow. Um, maybe I could just get that audience I've been aiming for this whole time. So I guess you can say, um, the quote unquote burden I've been told about has been a gift in hindsight. So, and it's just been a smooth ride, just a fun adventure ever since.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I'm glad, very glad to hear that you've seen a lot of success uh, with your work. Like, especially with like because some people work so hard to make something of themselves and they don't really make it. So, I mean, got to admit, like, it's awesome to hear that you've seen such success with your stuff.
In hindsight, I believe it was all just a matter of luck and everything, because, you know, Boob Chan didn't have to follow me back. He didn't have to.
Hmm.
And, you know, I never thought someone like him would, but, you know, if people really wanted me to, I could just like jump on his dick for like the next 2 hours just boasting about him. But I'll just say I I hold him responsible for giving me the jump start to all this. I mean, there's also a Rain Donut and Pfeiffer for, spreading those few other tweets to get exploded, but Boob Chan really just started it all for me. And again, you know, I'm as surprised as anybody else even today, even though it's been like 6 months, just taking a second to think about it, and I'm just like, holy shit, man, just I can't believe this. Like, you know, even like with the commissions and whatnot, holy shit, the I do like Walmart prices where you get like decent products for like a cheap price. The amount of money dropped. Like, I don't want to boast, but I'll say this: it'll help a lot with renting a good place around here. And hey, people. I mean, sure, like normal people that don't understand the no safe for work game, they can make jokes all they want or just say, "Oh, you draw titties. Oh, you creep." Well, I'll say this: people pay top dollar to see some titty. So, like, I'm sure if you thought of that, like around the time the trend was starting up, you'd probably do the same. And me personally, it would be nice to like, stick with the blue collar job and do that, but maybe some people aren't just cut out for it. Maybe some people just know themselves well enough to just stick with, just drawing stupid stuff online, and there will be a market for it regardless. But it is just a matter of having an ideal confidence and just luck, really. Like, I mean, I know there's plenty of people that will be trying their darndest to make a name for themselves on here with skill, plenty of like prepping and everything, which I fully support. That's part of the plan, is just knowing what you're going to do, but also it's a matter of luck, like getting noticed by the right people and then just keeping those kind of connections. like that's how like a lot of other businesses work, like outside of the internet. Because like with Domino's or like even Doritos, like I've watched this video about how Doritos were made,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it all started in Disneyland, like back in the 50s or something.
Mm-hmm.
All because someone at like the Mexican restaurants there decided to refry like the tortilla rolls, and then in turn they just made corn chips, and they just exploded all over the country. So it all just depends, really. Like, some people are lucky and some people are not. But if someone's dedicated to doing a certain type of work, they will find ways around it, different ways to make it work. And that's all I can say. Like, if it doesn't work this way, try another way. Like,
Right. Okay. So what you said earlier about like saying that some things just aren't cut out for other people, uh, like for instance blue collar jobs or what you're into right now with your art, because you're making a profit off of it. So in all technicality, it is a job, just not like, I guess not a steady one because it all depends on commissions.
the
But
best way I can describe it, it wants to be a part time. It's a part time job when it wants to be.
right.
So, but so far for the last like 6 months, it's made like a third of my overall profits. So it's been steady. It's been very steady. Um, and just so people know, I am open for commissions 24/7. But chances are I might be in the middle of a project or doing something else, so I might not get to your commission immediately. But just know that commissions are open 24/7 if you still want something. And you know until I say otherwise on Twitter, it'll just be left at that, because it'll also depend on how many people want to commission me, because so far it hasn't been a huge abundance. Like, it's only been just a few people at like a month or so, and so far been it's been all right. I even have like a couple regulars that drop a $15 once in a while for like a still image or something, or and yeah, it's been totally fine, because I've just seen plenty of people be like commissions closed and everything. So I wouldn't know what that's like right now, but I'm sure down the road I will. But yeah, people, just as a heads up, if you want something from me, just DM me. We'll talk something out. But
So speaking of commissions, the question for you is one that is a controversial like statement throughout the art community. So for NSFW artists, obviously you have your haters. Everybody has their haters, but I mean, there are people who are
yeah,
crazy in this world when it comes to people who draw not safe for work stuff. So my question to you is: there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, that NSFW art should not get any attention or much less get funded, as in commissions." What do you have to say to those who say that NSFW artists shouldn't be paid for what they do? They should just be grateful for the attention that they've gotten already.
well, as much as I'd love to just stick with the retail job and do nothing else, I'm sorry, but some of us do need the extra cash. And you know what? Some people are willing to pay to get custom drawings of No Safer Work, and you really can't force and said otherwise. I mean, yeah, you can have your opinions on, you know, about art, because art is subjective overall. And, it's understandable if No Safer Work content is not for certain individuals. I understand, like, not everyone will agree with my decision to open this account or just draw the stuff I do. But at the same time, some people maybe just want to draw this kind of stuff to vent, or just to get a thought out there, or just do anything. Or maybe they have an audience to appease to and they feel obligated to keep up with that audience. Or like I said before, maybe they just do the No Safe for Work art because they do need the extra money on the side and they do see the opportunity of making this content and people are willing to pay for it. It's basically the equivalent of like trying to stop everyone to drink alcohol or trying to quit everyone or make everyone to quit smoking.
Hmm.
Like there are just like as much as you don't like it, people are still going to do it anyway. And as long as that person is still making money and making enough of a profit to at least buy some bread every week, what's it matter? Especially if it's not being pushed in your face. Because if it is being pushed in your face and if you're seeing it every day, that's one thing. But if you're just going to this other guy who's just minding his own business and it's the first time you've seen him, what do you care? Like,
Right. Cause like there's a lot of people out there who don't agree with either NSFW stuff or just what anyone does in general. Especially with those kind of, I guess you could say, uh, well, I want to say like I was gonna say like good Christian homes, but I don't want to say that because I have plenty of friends who are religious
extreme
but also do this.
fundamentalists.
Yeah,
The
okay,
term
there
you're
you
looking
go.
for is
Yeah.
extreme fundamentalists. There you go.
Or as I like to call them, Karens on the internet.
Call them Flanders.
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 So another question for you. In the time that you've done like all these things, in the time that you've done all these commissions and just your art in general, have you ever had to deal with a crazy commissioner? Like you ever had to deal with someone who was either too indecisive or rude or anything like that?
Just one. I feel horrible about the experience. I'm not going to name drop him, but dude, if you're listening, I am very sorry. I know I left you hanging, but man, you did a bit too much on me. So there's this one guy who wanted a certain commission of of his OC getting cowgirled, and he wasn't specific on the angle or anything. He was specific about the designs, and no offense to this guy, no offense to this guy, but his design for the dude, I didn't like even for me, I couldn't make that look attractive.
Hmm.
But you know, I gave him the first attempt. Like he only dropped money for one GIF, and I gave it to him, and then he was like, "Oh, do this again, but at a different angle, and I want to see the dude in back." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." And then he dropped like another set of money for another set of frames into that loop, which okay, at least he's paying for an extra one, and I'll just make the other half free on the house, which I did. But then he went, and then he was like, "Oh, this is perfect." But you just gotta change and this. And then he was like, also, I want to give you a bunch of money to make a bunch more scenes like this, and this. And to myself, I was like, oh, Jesus. And this was around the time that I was trying to rush out this 1,000 follower milestone video called The
Hmm.
Hershes, which was supposed to be done by the end of July, but I couldn't get it done until mid September because business was booming so much. And during those few months, I was just so like stressing out with trying to juggle everything with like this account and with like the real life job and everything else. And with this dude just wanting to pile more onto it, like at least I convinced him to just hold off for paying any more things and we'll see about doing a redo. And sadly, I just kind of left him hanging there, especially when he'd want to like get an update every day,
Hmm.
even if I'm working on other commissions or whatnot. And I think he kind of caught on and he just called me rude for just leaving him hanging, which I agree. I should have just been upfront with him, but I didn't want to be a bastard and be like, bro, you're doing too much. I can't do any of this. Could you please knock it off? But, you know, at least all he did was just pay for the two gifts I already made for him.
Mhm.
So he can take that as he will. Again, my dude, if you're listening, I'm so sorry that you got to hear this story right now. I know you were just so excited to get like commissions from me, but even then, like I have my limits and I have other things I got to do on the side every day, even outside of the accounts. Um, but he was the one instance where a commissioner was being a bit too much, and I do feel very bad about that. But hey, to lighten this up on the opposite spectrum, I do have a regular who, like, you know, him and I bounce back and forth like a bunch of lore ideas for his OCs, and he lets me redesign them. And this guy is fun as shit because when I first met him, he was like, "I want to get a commission for you." I was like, "Okay," and then I don't hear from him like after a few days, and I was like, "Hey, did you still want a commission?" I was like, "No, I'm looking for something else right now." And I was like, "Okay, well, if you want like picks like this or this or this, just give me a call." And I gave him a few references, and he's like, "Whoa, you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he just went, "Hey, I got a few OCs that are like this," and then him and I would just go back and forth about all the fun ideas we could do. And then ever since he just became a regular, and now I just give him a discount every time he wants to like get a still commission because his ideas are just way too much fun, and I'm just like, all right, there you go, man. If you want some, just drop it. The PayPal, and just once in a while he's like, boop, there you go, and then I just take about an hour to draw him something,
Nice.
and that dude's fun. The other dude was this dude I'm talking about who's the regular, but yeah, for the one commissioner that I kind of, snuck away from, I'm sorry. But
And
yeah,
I
that's
I mean
there
like
you go.
I mean it's understandable too. I mean, sure, not many people know, like, or people don't know the uh like the life outside of commissions for most artists, if any. Like, not many people know of their life outside of commissions. And the way that I see it is that, like, yeah, for some of them it is their career, but I mean, people have other people have other things happening. Like, I've gotten people angry at me for not putting up another episode of this for like at one point it was like a month I didn't put up another
And
episode of this. It's like I have
hey,
life stuff going on.
yeah, I can vouch for that. Like, the people saying that him and I have been playing this for like 3 weeks, and
Mhm.
now we're just finally getting to it. So
Right,
keep in
like
mind, like
life
everybody
happens.
has things going on. Like, not everybody's gracious enough to like draw art every day. I mean, that's the plan for me, but I still got a long way to go. But yeah, just I mean, unless if someone's out in the open about saying, "Oh, they're busy right now, they can't do much," just have a benefit of a doubt and just wait for them to do something or anything. Especially with like the smaller guys like me. Like even though I'm at like 6K, there are people that follow me that are like 20K, 30K, 40K, and even for a small guy like me who does make a good bit of bank off of commissions, I still got like shit to juggle outside of the internet. Like the full time has been a bit demanding, and I make promises to people to make videos about them because I'm stupid and I overexert myself and I get cocky with how much I can do in a day.
Mhm.
Like this Saturday, it was the first post I've made in a while that didn't get posted until like 10 p.m. because I thought I could do a commission and then get this long animation done before work, which I couldn't, which made me a total grump ass that shift. And now, like, I just keep either I wake up super early to work on a morning gift every day, or I just keep it short and simple with like 9 frame loops. And then I just go about the rest of my day, like either getting a cartoon done or doing a commission or just taking a minute to just veg or just like talk with other people. I want to like, you know, say what's up and all that. hoo ha. But yeah, no, just for the most part, people are busy. Like even with their dream jobs, they could just have piles of commissions listed that they just want to get done. So it's very complicated for those who don't really understand the daily routine of somebody who would be so dedicated to doing like an online profession.
Mm-hmm.
So just people just keep. I'm just saying, people just keep the benefit of a doubt. Just wait a bit. Just wait for someone to say something. They'll explain themselves.
And especially speaking with online jobs, do you believe that with everything going on with COVID crisis and all that kind of stuff, do you believe that like obviously commissions and artists online such as yourself, like you guys have seen a massive influx of like people due to the COVID crisis. It is a horrible thing that's happening. But do you believe that with the what's going on this year, do you think more people will be more open to the fact that hey, these online jobs are actually a thing? Because there's a lot of people who say that artists such as yourself that it's not a real job just because you work online or you're just sitting at a desk drawing stuff.
First of all, a 20 is a 20. You got to get money somehow. Like even with strippers, even if they don't like the job, it pays big. And in the last 10 years, just in general, I've seen so many things that would be considered outlandish to be accepted. Like, you know, despite, except for what the silly boomers say about within their comics, people are getting more attached to smartphones and cell phones to be more of a reliable tool.
The
The
silly
MCU,
boomers.
yeah, like aside from the silly boomer comics making fun of cell phones, like people have accepted cell phones to be a very handy tool, not just with calling and texting, but also like looking up things, doing GPSs, doing calculator stuff, saving notes for other like important tasks. And again, like the MCU, like as far as I was concerned, like Marvel and comics in general was this nerdy shit until the Avengers came out. And now everyone is just talking about like Thanos and making like silly memes about all the new shows coming out and everything. So I I'd say with everyone being more distant with communications, I'd say give it a few years, and people might not embrace it immediately, but over time I'm sure more people would understand why no safe for work artists would do this, because at the end of the day, I said before, a 20 is a 20, and people are willing to pay for their personalized fantasies to be made, you know real in front of them on a screen,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they don't have the skill or talent or confidence to do it themselves. So I but like I said, I don't expect everybody to embrace the no safe for work kind of job, but at the very least, I do believe people will understand more and more that hey, as long as an online job pays, it they might not agree with it, but at least they understand. So and if we can at least get there, it's all you need.
Okay. Uh, all right. So let's see. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna turn this on its head. I've never done this before, but what would be some questions that you have? Do you have? I'm gonna let a guest ask the questions.
Awesome. Okay. Hmm. It's weird because I just prepped myself so much for you to ask me all the basic questions. But let's see. You know what? I think people are curious, and I don't know if you ever said this before. I
Mm-hmm.
sure don't know the answer. But how did you start this podcast? Like, how did you decide one day to start doing this particularly just interviewing, you know, no safe for work artists?
Well, okay, so the way that I started this whole shebang was I already had friends who were NSFW artists, so I was kind of like I was already supporting those kind of artists, but after a while I realized, like looking around more and more, I realized that there's not enough support for these people. Like, sure, they do get a lot of support. Some of them are like very successful with what they do. Uh, but I feel as if they deserved more, and I wanted to think of a way that I could do that. Now, being as me being to the point where I can't exactly do much in the terms of financial support, because I do have a job, but it doesn't pay much. I only have
Mhm.
enough to scrape by with bills. So I figured, you know what? I've already run a podcast before. Why don't I do something? Why don't Because the last podcast I did was kind of just fucking around, uh, bar talk kind of thing. We would just screw around for 2 hours, and that's more than fine. But for me, I figured, you know what? I'm passionate about this subject, so I am going to invite all these artists that I find as so interesting and find as friends. I'm going to invite them onto a show, and I want to get to know them. I want people to get to know the person that they are following. And that's how it started.
Now, see right there, when people say, "Oh, you'll get exposure." Now, this is the kind of exposure, me personally, I'd prefer to have. You
Mhm.
know, like, like don't do the whole, "Oh, if you drop me something, I'll like tag you in this," and only 5 people are gonna see it. No, like if you really want to like expose, like it's safe for an artist. The best way you can do for exposure is just doing stuff like this with podcasts or interviews or just doing these big projects that will get their name out there and at the very least hundreds of people are going to see at a time. Oh yeah, no, like this is a good idea. I dig this. And hey, at least for me it lets me shoot the shit for a while. I
Right.
figure I figured some of these questions are going to pop up from somebody, so
Right.
hey.
And yeah, and it's just the fact that I like not many people know this about me, but like uh I I support artists this way, and sometimes do a commission just because I either really want to, I have something in my mind that I want to get out. I want to uh, have in digital art form or just art form in general. So I do sometimes commission when I can, but with this, I wanted to be an artist when I was a teenager, but I just kind of stopped. And it's not a good thing to really just stop out of nowhere. I just didn't feel like I was going anywhere. So if I can't be an artist, I'm more than willing to help artists get bigger and bigger. Like even if you're an artist with like 1 million followers, like I'll still have you on the show just so I can show that many more people what you do. And a lot of people have called me a clout chaser for the people I've had on the show, but I don't consider myself a clout chaser. I'm not begging them to be on the show. I just ask them.
That's the same with me. Like someone tried to shit talk me about getting clout, but maybe, you know, I know I make a lot of posts like tagging other artists and whatnot, but maybe it's just because I like their OCs and I like what they do with their shit. And maybe I was just like, hey, this would be a fun idea. And then I just tag them out of respect. Because, I made gifts for people smaller than me and I
Mhm.
enjoy like doing their stuff. So, and really, like, you can say all they want, all it's just about the cloud, but by the end of the day, it's just because we enjoy the shit, and It doesn't matter. Like even if it is a matter of clout, you can say that practically anybody does anything for clout. Like, the amount of like Sonic OCs and whatnot out there
Mm-hmm.
and all these fan characters, and they can't make an original lore thing themselves and they just do it based off of Sonic. Or, like how even the bigger people with like 20 or 30K followers, they'd make fan art for like huge like YouTubers like Game Grumps or like Shane Dawson. Like it's people just draw the shit just out of respect and fun. And again, if it is just a matter of clout, like why would you personally care? But
Right.
but
Yeah.
no, like and it's like what you said before, even if you get like big names on your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
99 cents do not make a dollar. Every penny counts. And even for smaller guys, anything helps. So I think what you're doing is completely fine. And hey, it could branch out to something big. Because, like, how many watchers have you gotten within the last 2 months ever since you started this? Because I've noticed it's gone up just a bit, really.
I average around 200, 200, about 250 to 300 views per episode. If uh, if we're really pushing it, like the least amount so far, I think the least amount of views that an episode has gotten is like 130, maybe. But
So there you go.
and I've raised in subscribers by about I want last the I had like 178 for the longest time, and then ever since I started the show, I've bumped up to 315.
See?
Like it's a slow. Like people ask me, like, how come you don't have more followers, more subscribers, anything like that? Since you have these big people on your show, I'm like, it's not like they have direct influence on who their like followers are. They can't just tell them go follow this person or I'm not gonna do anything else. Like that's not how it works. People see my stuff and it's their choice. Like
Right.
just cause someone has like 50K followers doesn't mean all of their followers are going to follow me. That's not how it works.
Like I said, again, it's all just like for chance and pure luck because somebody big might find you, and then in turn, because that big person found you, then their followers, a handful of their followers are just gonna like notice you and be like, "Oh, I like this guy," and then just connect to you.
Right,
So,
exactly. And for me, I I'm not in it for popularity. If people see me, yes, I want people to see me. I want people to see the artists that I bring on. I want people to see that. But like I'm not here for just the popularity. I'm here to help artists to reach a wider horizon.
see, it's not about the fame; it's about the fun.
Exactly. Uh all right. So, let's see. We are okay. So, we have time for one more question cuz usually the episodes run about 45 to an hour. So one question for you would be for any aspiring artists out there, what would your advice be to them if either A, they think they're not good enough so they stop, they just stop drawing like I did, or they're not sure where to start? Where what kind of advice would you give to those aspiring artists?
Maybe I'd say try looking at things from a different angle. Like, chances are, if you're anything like me, before starting up the account, before donning the red hood, um, probably only did art for a certain project or a certain perspective. Like either you're just sticking with making like comic art or doing like fancy pretty art or just doing something in general. And if it's not getting the response you want, try something different. Like maybe do a certain type of art that you know you can do and see how that works. And chances are, if you're lucky, it could get picked up a bunch or significantly better than your first attempt. Or maybe just like branch out and just discover what else you enjoy doing or what you could be good at doing. And who knows, maybe instead of being known for doing this one thing you've been planning on doing this whole time, maybe you can find another hobby or find another field of art that you just found that you can be good at and you can explode with fame. And maybe you can enjoy doing that a bit more than you originally thought you would. Because again, with me, like I was told for years not to do any like lustful art. Don't do any lusty art. It's bad. But with all those people practically gone, and with me just saying fuck it and doing this, it, it surprised me. So it really is just a matter of just try new things. Um, and who knows? Maybe you could connect with people you never thought you could. Go to places you never thought you'd be at, and maybe maybe your original plan just being the main thing, it could be set on the back burner for now, and then down the road, when you're big enough, you can try it again. But and that's the thing with art. It's always just a matter of experimentations, changes, trying something new, doing things from a different kind of perspective, or trying a different little, you know, technique. Just mix things up a bit. And who knows? Who knows?
Okay. Awesome. Very enlightening. I really like it. But yeah, it looks like that's gonna actually do it for this episode. Dude, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. This was a very fun episode. I had originally told him that I figured we might as well, go a little bit off the hinges with this episode, just have fun with it, and it was fun. I liked it.
I was gonna say I was willing to like answer like I did have like one or two more answers for questions I thought you'd ask, but hey, if we're strict for time, I'm
Well, I
fine with
mean,
it. I think.
this isn't the only time you're going to be on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I also yeah, this gives me a perfect segue into the next episode. So all of you watching who are avid listeners of Naughty Lines, be on the lookout for the next episode because it will actually feature not one guest but four guests at once. And it'll be a group episode of Naughty Lines, and I plan on bringing McDraws here uh, on for one of those kinds of episodes where him and three other or four other artists are all together and we just have a group discussion.
Oh, that sounds poppin'.
So yeah, definitely. Like I guarantee you'll get more questions in that than you did here. So
So we're really gonna do like a sleepy cabin kind of thing.
kinda, yeah, yeah. But yeah, be on the lookout for the next episode, which is going to feature Siren Slut Arts, Cherry Picks, Pink Animations, and Witchy Beans as the guests. Uh, but yeah, McDraws, I want to thank you again for coming on to the show. It was great having you.
It's been a thrill. I've been waiting for this for weeks.
And any of you want to check out anything that McDraws has done or want to commission him as well, his information will be in the description below. My name is Tony Boy. This is McDraws, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, bitches.